Okay. Yeah, I think it's time to start. So, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Thank you very much to our global community from PMOfficers. Thank you very much for joining us again in another webinar series, The Magic of the PMO. In this time, we have a wonderful colleague from India, a great colleague, Ashutosh Bhattawadekar. I hope I said correctly. It's a little difficult for me. Sorry for that. But thank you very much for joining us. Today, we are going to learn a product thinking from a coach's lens. We're trying every week to share very different topics, including not only about specific PMO, because everything is related when we are talking about project management, when we are talking about product management, when we are talking about several frameworks, not traditional or waterfall frameworks, but agile frameworks and topics and agile mindset as well. So today we are going to learn. I think it's a very important topic for any product management office, project management office, digital transformation office, eh, or any other related about when we are managing products under agile frameworks. Because as we have mentioned in the past in several other webinars, conferences, our training courses, the role, the product owner role is very important role when we are talking about for example, agile PMO. Just for one example, it's very important this kind of roles. So today, Ashutosh, thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for joining us and sharing us your experiences and very important topics like you are presenting today. You are most welcome. Thank you very much from Barcelona, Spain. Thank you very much, and please, we want to listen to you. Thank you. Most welcome.
Thanks, Leonardo, and thanks to the PM office for giving me an opportunity to talk here. And it's wonderful to be with all of you here. My name is Ashutosh Bhattadekar, and I'm an Agile Coach, a transformation agent, working with various organizations in Agile coaching and transformation. I'll be sharing my LinkedIn ID as we move ahead. And thanks for the opportunity given to me once again from the PM officers to talk about. We talk about product thinking, right? And we always, what comes to our mind is product owners and product managers. But I'm slightly going to change this context and I'm going to talk from a coach's perspective. So when we go in from a coach's perspective, how do we think about product? Or what are the coaching steps we should be giving to product owners? So the intention here is not that I will become a product owner from tomorrow. The main objective of this topic is that if I am a coach in an engagement, how do I bring about a product thinking mindset? How do I bring about a product thinking culture in my team and make sure that my product owners think in the correct way? So I am putting this topic from the perspective of an agile coach, and as an agile coach, how do we bring about the product thinking mindset? During the course of this webinar, feel free to ask me any questions in between, or if you need any clarification on any of the points which I'll be talking in between, feel free to ask me any questions around the topic, right? So that is what I would request you all to do. And yes, I mean, let's learn from each other. I'm sure there's a lot of learning which even I will carry from here back home, and similarly, there will be a lot of learning what you also would be having from this. So that's something about me. A quick, I would say, information about me. So I'm on LinkedIn. You can search on this name. I know it's a little a bigger name, but You can just put in the spelling on the LinkedIn and you will find me there, and feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. And I have around 21 years of experience in the traditional way of working, which we now call it as waterfall. And then last 12 years have been predominantly been into an agile coaching role, where I've helped teams in transforming themselves from a traditional way of working into an agile way of working. I'm a certified SAFe program consultant, and I do engage with clients in their SAFe transformation journey, and also been a part of various clients across pharmaceutical, telecom, travel and tourism, and entertainment, where I have worked with them in transforming from a traditional way of working into an agile way of working. So that's in a brief about me. And yeah, you can put your questions in the chat box also. At periodic intervals, I will have a look at the chat box and see if there are any questions any of you are having. All right, let's move ahead. So this is broadly how I would be covering. We'll have a small icebreaker, maybe for a minute or something. I will talk about this famous matrix, which is called as a product technology matrix. Then what is called as the IDEO three lenses of innovation. How do they operate? What are the different types of, what is that diffusion of innovation curve, as we popularly call it? The product feature, again, a prioritization matrix, and we'll more talk about the product disruptions which are happening in a digital era. And then, of course, we will conclude it with a set of, with a round of questions, if any one of you has any questions for me. So that's broadly the agenda with which I'll be going through this entire session. Okay, so let me ask you a quick question to all of you. Has anyone of you seen this photograph before? And there's something very unique about this photograph. So any thoughts or any quick guesses on this? What this photograph is all about? What is it trying to indicate? Any quick guesses on this photograph? Something very, very peculiar about this photograph. I'll just give a minute for people to just answer this. First selfie, okay. Anyone else? Anyone else? Any thoughts around it? And yeah, I mean, feel free to. But it's okay, even if it's a wrong answer, it's absolutely fine. Black and white technology, okay, interesting. Yeah, it is a black and white technology with a person holding hand very closer to his chest, as you can see. And yeah, I mean, the reason why this icebreaker is mainly to set a context with the chapter, with the topic which I'm going to cover. It is just to set up a context with the chapter or the topic which I'm going to cover as a part of the discussion. Yeah, okay, so Pradeep actually got it right. I mean, this is the world's first selfie photograph. Okay, I mean, we all thought that selfie photography came in with our smartphones, right? And probably the technology is only 15, 20 years old. But in reality, the first selfie was taken by this person, Robert Cornelius. It was around 1839, which is almost, I would say, 240, 50 years old. In fact, sorry, not 240, around 180 years old is where this photograph was taken. And this is widely recognized as the world's first selfie. This is officially recognized as the world's first selfie what we have. And what I'm trying to tell here is that product innovation is not something which we say that, okay, only few people can do, or it's that if someone has innovated something means that's the end of it. As you can see, he came out with a way of creating a photograph. He wanted to snap his own photograph, and he found a way for doing it, right? And then, of course, it took almost 100, 150 years for the product, that selfie mode to be materialized in our camera phones. So the analog camera phones, which were there for pretty long time, those did not have these selfie phone feature, right? But suddenly when mobile phones came in, when digital cameras came in, they started having the selfie mode. So what I'm trying to tell here is that there's definitely something unique about it. There's definitely something very, very unique about this, which actually is telling us that, you know what, innovation is a continuous exercise. It's not a one-time exercise. It's a continuous exercise what we have, and we always need to innovate. We always need to make sure that we innovate on a continual basis. That is what this particular picture is trying to tell us, which is where I'm trying to connect it with our, I would say, the topic today, which is product thinking from a coach's mindset. So as a coach, we should always encourage innovation in our team. So I know this is a forum for PM officers, but even when we talk about we being project managers or program managers, what is important is that we build about that innovation culture. We make sure that the culture of innovation is something which is kept alive in our teams through coaching, through mentorship, through training. We'll have to bring about that culture of innovation into our teams is what we need to remember here. So that's the underlying message which I'm trying to give here, that be innovative, be as innovative as you can be in your day-to-day activities. Okay, so let me move to the next piece of very interesting information. This is called as a product matrix. So on x-axis, what you see is the technology dimension, which means that is the technology existing or is the technology new? So if I'm developing a pen, for example, let us say I'm developing a pen. So today the technology of developing a pen is not a new technology. It is already existing. So it will come on the left-hand side. But let us say I'm developing a tablet for COVID-19 cure. I want to come about and develop a tablet or a medicine for COVID-19 cure. The technology would be something which would be very, very new. That technology is something which will be not existing technology, but it will be very, very new. That technology would be there, right? And on y-axis, we have the market. Is the market existing or is the market new? Is it something the market is already existing for that product, or is it a new market which I will be having, right? So that's on the y-axis what we have. So let's take this example, and if you look at it, what we have done is we have divided it into 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. As you can see, those are the 4 quadrants of what we have. So quadrant 1 is about a product which falls in existing technology and existing market. A product which is in existing technology and existing market is a product which falls in quadrant 1, and we call it as an incremental evolution. So the product in all probability is already there, but we are going to incrementally innovate on it. So it could be a pen. It could be a pen and we come out with a better version of the pen, or it could be a smartphone, or it could be even be a Zoom feature, right? The Zoom is currently there, right? The technology is existing, or the market is existing. They just come out with incremental patches, or they come out with incremental features to the existing, I would say, Zoom application. So the best example of a product in quadrant 1 can be Zoom, which talks about incremental innovation, which is all about incremental innovation. How do we incrementally innovate the product? So that is called as product in quadrant 1. Quadrant 2 is the technology is existing, but the markets are new. So we are scaling up. So we started with one simple market, and then we are scaling up our product. We are scaling it up across different regions, across different areas. So that is what we call as second quadrant. The technology is existing technology, but the market is a new market what we have. So that's a new market what we have here. So that is a architectural innovation. It's more like a scaling market what we have. It's like scaling across. Quadrant 3 is a new technology in an existing market. So this is something very exciting, right? I mean, it's kind of disrupting. It is going to disrupt the existing players in the market. So someone is already, like what happened with Kodak just a few years back, right? The technology was totally new. Digital cameras was a totally new technology which was there. And they came in and they disrupted the cameras in the existing market. So it's coming under what we call as disruptive innovation, new technology, but the market is something which is existing in nature. So that is quadrant three, what we have. And quadrant four is the dimension which is where we get the maximum innovation or a radical innovation. New technology, new market. It's a completely new technology and a completely new market what we have. And such products come in what we call as radical innovation. So the reason why we are talking about these products or we are talking about these technology is because most of the innovations will happen in this quadrant. Quadrant 4 is the place where maximum set of innovations are going to happen. So from a coaching perspective, what we have to do is we have to challenge our product owners, we have to challenge our product managers to not be, I would say, be satisfied in these quadrants. We have to actually motivate them. We have to motivate them to move across these quadrants because only if your product is in quadrant 4, you will find that it will have radical innovation. It will bring about a radical innovative culture. If your product actually comes out with something which is more radically innovative in nature, right? So that's what we call it as the product or the technology and the market matrix what we have. So some examples I have given. Like if I start producing a toothpaste or a soap or a wristwatch, that will be more like a quadrant 1 product. That product will be mainly existing in quadrant 1. Quadrant 2, an example can be that my product is already there, but I'm scaling it across. I'm opening up more stores or I'm increasing the spread of the product across so many regions. Or it could be carry for, right? I mean, that was kind of a innovation, right? The retail store carry for. They come out with a kind of a home delivery option, etc. So that's a new market which they're trying to cater to. Quadrant 3 is the disruptive innovation, Amazon, Instagram, etc. So Facebook is there, then Instagram comes in, and Instagram actually displaces Facebook out of the popularity. So most people go in for an Instagram account rather than going in for a Facebook account. So that's a quadrant 3 of what we have. So that's nothing but a quadrant 3 model of what we have. And quadrant 4 is a radical innovation where we call it as a driverless car, right? So we have something called as a driverless car, a new technology in a new marketplace, which is there, which is nothing but a driverless car of what we have as a part of this. So this is what we call as the classic product solution matrix or the market technology matrix, which is at play here. So just a quick check here. Anyone has any questions here before we move ahead? Any quick questions anyone has? Okay, so I'll move ahead then. I'll assume that. So I hope the speed is okay with everyone. The speed at which I'm delivering. I hope. And I'm audible to everyone. Just want to do a quick check. Okay, fine. So I hope I'm audible. Yeah, yes, I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult to.
Okay,
it's very,
fine.
but it's very interesting. It's very interesting because it's another point of view because you are a matrix, no? That by one hand, the quadrants is very difficult because to identify it from C-level until execution, and by the other side, uh, I maybe from a strategy point of view, but at the end, the benefits for the business, no, the benefits for the organization, but in a combination of these four boxes, no, yeah. I like it that the disruptive innovation. This is a very, very difficult. Who is going to lead that? And radical innovation. This is even hardest because
Yes,
we
yes.
are talking about radical. This is a change management in all organization, all levels, top down and up down. No, very good, very good.
True, true. Yes, most organizations, as you rightly said, struggle to going from here to here or from here to here. Most of the organizations struggle in that zone. Because as you rightly said, right, I mean, radical innovation is something which requires a lot of change management initiatives, which requires a mindset change, which requires a culture change. So a lot of organizations struggle in there. I mean, to go from an incremental innovation to architecture or from disruptive to radical. That's correct. That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for pointing it out. Okay, let's move ahead then. I mean, if this is clear, let's move ahead. And then, of course, we have this very famous three lenses of innovation. I'm sure if you have gone through a design thinking course, you already know about it. This is a very famous model which is called as IDEO's three lenses of innovation. So for a product to be successful, what we need is that it has to fall in that sweet spot. So what is that sweet spot? That sweet spot is business, people, and technology. So it has to meet the business needs, it has to meet the technology needs, and it has to meet the people needs. So it is viability, feasibility, and desirability. So those are the three lenses what we have: viability, desirability, and feasibility. So you might have a product which is viable and desirable, but then the technology piece is missing. So this is just an emotional innovation. What is an example of an emotional innovation? I need something to be done quickly, but there is no technology to support. People want it. What was the case around 7, 8 months back? Everyone wanted a COVID vaccine. People desired it. The business viability in all probability was there, but the technology was missing. The technology as such was missing in that piece. Right? So the technology thing was missing in that piece. The feasibility was missing. So we have people and we have business. Both were there, but the technology piece was missing. So that's more like an emotional innovation. Let's take a second example. People and the technology are there, but the business viability is not there. So desirability and feasibility is there, but the business viability is not there. So it will be more like a process innovation. You will develop that product, but you can't really sell in the market because the business viability is not there, right? So people and technology present, but business viability missing in that equation. And the last one we have is business and technology there, but no one buys it. Okay, so the business viability is there, technology feasibility is there, but people don't desire that product. I'll give an example of such a product. One of the classic examples where this happened, if you recall, I'm talking about the third one, where we had the business viability and the technology feasibility, but people rejected it. Is a classic example is Google Glass. So Google Glass is a product which was developed by Google. They had some, I would say, they had the technology in mind. They could come out with a good product. They had a business viability in mind that yes, if we develop this product, this is how it will go in the place, and this is how it will be sold in the marketplace. But unfortunately, people did not buy the product. So no one actually went ahead and bought the product. And as such, it remained a product in the labs of Google with the technology in place, with the business viability in place. But as such, no one actually used this product, which is a Google Glass. So this is more like a functional innovation. This kind of a product, like a Google Glass product, is more like a functional innovation product, what we have. If you ask me, the real sweet spot to be is this. This is the sweet spot where actually my product should lie, where all the three circles are intersecting. So if at all I want my product to be successful, I would like that it should fall in the intersection of all the three lenses: the business lens, the people lens, and the technology lens. All the three lenses have to be intersecting with each other and go into this sweet spot, is what we call as the ideal three lenses of innovation of what we have, right? So business viability, people viability, desirability, and technology feasibility. So those are the three lenses of innovation of what we have here. And it's a very famous model. I mean, it's something which is very much famous in the industry, which people are doing it to find out the feasibility, the desirability, and the viability of a product. All right. So now next we have a very interesting curve also, which we should be aware as coaches. And this is called as the 16% curve, or this is popularly called as the diffusion of innovation curve. This is nothing but diffusion of innovation curve what we have. And what it says is that any new product which is launched in the market, it could be, let us say, a new iPhone, or it could be a new tab PC, or it could be a new television set, or let's say a new collaboration software. It goes through this classic curve, which is called as the 16% curve, or the diffusion of innovation curve. So what this says is that for any product, you will always find that it is easier to get the first 16% of the people. So the first 16% of the buyers are easier to find out for any product, right? So this is called as the diffusion of innovator curve. So what it means is that 2.5% in that 16% will be innovators, people who have actually built that product. Folks who have actually designed that product will be innovators, what you will be having. And then 13.5% will be early adapters. So those are the people who would be early adapters who we can say, right? So that's what makes it 16%. Then there is that wall. That wall is that great divide. And you find that on the other side of the wall, there are early majority people, people who are going to buy the products who are in early majority. Then you will be having late majority as 34%. And then one very interesting observation is that there are 16% of the population of the people who are the potential users of your product who are never going to buy this product. Those people are never going to buy this product because they come under what we call as skeptics. Skeptics are people who are never going to buy the product, right? Because they are not convinced with the product as such. So they are not going to buy this particular product. So those are coming under what we call as skeptics. So as a coach, the challenge for us is that if we can motivate our product owners, if we can motivate our people who are the business people, and if we can actually have more of these people come up in these circles, more of these people come up in these circles, that way we can increase our product revenue. So one of the ways in which we should look at this innovation curve is that how as coaches do we encourage more people to come into the early majority and the early adapters vis-a-vis staying in late majority, or for that matter becoming a skeptic, right? So that is where the real essence of coaching comes, that if we can coach our product owners in shifting this diffusion curve, or if we can coach our product owners to make sure that this divide between left hand side and right hand side is something minimized. It is something which is pushed more to the right hand side, that will accelerate this. That is something which is going to accelerate this diffusion of innovation curve, and which is called as the 16% curve, what we popularly call. So this is a very interesting study, and again the numbers might change. The numbers definitely will change across the industry, but generally this is a trend which has been found, that 16% of the population is in that early adapters and innovators, and I would say the remaining 84% of the population is on the other side of the hill, or on the other side of the curve, which comes under early majority, late majority, and the late mass, as we call it. All right, moving ahead. So what I'm trying to tell you is are some of these, I would say, techniques or some of these coaching techniques which we will need to apply so that we encourage our product owners to work towards it, so that we encourage our product owners to bring in more customers on this side and make sure that the product owners understand that yes, what makes a product sell, what are the things which will make a product sell. We
intention of having this
Yeah, sorry, I think I lost my voice in between. Am I audible now? Just I lost it for few.
Sorry to interrupt to you. We were listening to you better when you touch anything. I don't know what did you touch right now. Have you changed it in a micro or something like this? Have you changed it something in your PC? Because we listen to you much better. I don't know what have you done.
No, I haven't done anything. I really haven't done anything. Are you able to hear me?
No, yes, we are listening to you, but I don't know why. Okay, I don't know, but that we were listening to you closer and clearest. That's the point. But okay, sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead, please. Thank you.
Okay, no issues, no issues. I think that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I hope I'm audible now, clearly audible, right?
Perfect.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so I was talking about this diffusion of innovation curve and how do we bring it to the right hand side. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to coach our teams to push this on the right hand side so that we get more people in early adapters, more people in early majority is what we would be getting. And this is called as the diffusion of innovation curve. Another tool where we should be using to coach our product owners and to our product team is what I would say is the diffusion of innovation curve what we have. Okay, and then of course I think this is something which our product owners already know. The product feature prioritization matrix, they're already aware about it. I mean, how do we decide the priority of a feature in a product? On what basis are we going to decide? So one matrix which is very popularly used is the value and the ease of implementation priority matrix. So what is this matrix all about? On x-axis you have the value of the product. Is it high? Is it low? And on y-axis is the ease of implementation. Is it very difficult to implement or is it very easier to implement? And if you look at it, we have classified some of the ideas or some of the features here. And the first priority which our product owners should pick up is items which are of high value and easy to implement, like B, right? Like B. It's a very high valuable item, something which is very much in demand in the product space, so we cannot really ignore that feature, and something which is easier to implement, like B. The least one should be C. In fact, C we should never be picking up because those are the items which are very difficult to implement and their value is also very, very low. The value of those items is also very, very low. So as such, so for example, this will be the cut, copy, paste feature in Microsoft Word. That is the most important feature, right? A file save feature. And this could probably be some feature which people are never going to use. Okay, so some feature in Microsoft Word which they are never going to use will be the idea C, which will be there, right? So this is a very, I would say, interesting tool, or this is a very important tool which helps you to actually identify and prioritize which items you will pick up, which items you will not pick up, right? And this is working from the perspective of the business. Which item is going to give you a higher revenue? Which item is going to give you a lower revenue? This is also going to work from the perspective of the consumer, right? This is also going to work that, okay, to which degree is this idea used by the consumer. So this, again, what I have seen from my experience has been that many product owners make a wrong decision. Although they know what is the prioritization technique, whether it is a Kano model of prioritization or whether it's a Moscow model of prioritization, but many times they end up making the wrong prioritization, or they end up making the wrong items priority perspective. So which is where this tool is something which is going to help them, which is going to help them in prioritizing. And again, as coaches, we should be coaching our teams in using this tool in the correct way. Like first items to be picked up, next items to be picked up, last items to be picked up, and items which we are never going to pick up. So there are some items which we are never going to pick up because they are really of not any value. They really do not make any value as such. So those items we are not going to pick up as a part of our product feature prioritization matrix. Any question anyone has on this or any of the topics which we covered before? Any quick questions? I hope I'm audible to everyone. Okay, let me move ahead then. I hope any questions anyone has? Okay, let me move ahead. So I think another interesting discussion is minimum viable product. What is a minimum viable product? And I think there's a lot of confusion between an MVP and an MMP. Minimum viable product and minimum marketable product. So minimum viable product is something which may not be having a full set of functionality. But the whole intention of a minimum viable product is to release a product in the market and test the feedback from the users. So we are going to test this feedback from the users is what is a minimum viable product what we have. Like you can see on the screen, we have a Facebook. We have a Facebook page where we see one of the first few versions of Facebook which are there. Right, one of the first few versions of Facebook, which is a very, very bare bone skeleton, I would say, image of a Facebook product what we have. Right, so that's a minimum viable product what we have. And once we raise a minimum viable product, or once we construct a minimum viable product, we launch it quickly and we get a feedback from the end users. We are actually going to get a feedback from the end users about what this product is all about. So this is called as a minimum viable product. And generally what happens is companies raise this minimum viable product with few of their customers, not with all customers, but they will raise it with a few of the customers, or they will release it to few of their customers. They will gather feedback and then they will work on it, right? So that's what we will call it as a MVP or a minimum viable product what we have. So something which resonates with company's target market or the company's vision is what is called as a minimum viable product. What is a MMP? MMP is a marketing release, which means you're actually going to release this product in the market and you're going to sell this. You're going to earn some revenue out of it. So that is MMP what we have, right? So MMP might not be a full version again, but at least it is in a releasable state. So what is the difference between a MMP and an MMF? MMF is minimum marketable feature. This is for a product, if I were to say. And MMP, the basic purpose is to reduce the time to market. But remember, in releasing an MMP, companies may not come out with a full functionality, like what happened with iPhone. When they launched it in 2007, they did not provide many of the features which their competitors were giving, like for example, Outlook integration, copy paste functionality, voice recognition. So many of these features which the competitors were giving, iPhone was not giving in 2007. That was, I would say, a very, very calculated risk which Apple took. A very, very calculated risk, because that was something which was missing in the basic version of an iPhone. I mean, it was labeled as a premium product,
but surprisingly, these were the features which were missing. So what companies normally do is they first release an MVP or a minimum viable product. They get the feedback from the users around that MVP, and based on the feedback, they redesign, rework on it, and they come up with MMP, which is minimum marketable product. And the MMP is the launch of the product. So MMP is something which they are going to sell in the market, is what we call as an MMP or a minimum marketable product, what we have here. Okay. And of course, we all know about the product life cycle. How does the product life cycle behave? So every product has got a unique product life cycle right from its start to its decline. So product development to introduction to growth, maturity, and decline. That's how the product life cycle goes through. And what has happened is, because of the rapid digitalization, because of the rapid, I would say, the ways our products are being developed, what we find is that the product life cycle time span has shortened a lot. So earlier a product life cycle could, let's say, 5 or 10 years, to hardly in months, if you ask me. Right? I mean, a new product comes in, it stays there, and it's very fastly it goes into a maturity and then to a decline. As you can see, some examples which I'm trying to give here. Woolworths, they had a store in every city in America until it shut down completely in 1997, and probably the digitalization took a toll on it. Right, the rapid digitalization of the technology took a toll on it. Right. Then there's a very famous book chain, Borders bookstore chain. It was one of the leading bookstores in America, and 2011 it could not survive the internet age, where we had even a book available on my iPad or a smartphone to read on it. That's another example of it. Right, and we have seen this across the world, not just what Amazon did to Walmart. Right. I mean, Amazon has completely redefined the shopping experience. We don't have to go to a store. We do not have to physically visit a store. It has completely revamped the shopping experience, if I were to say. So these are the major product disruptions in the digital era, what we have, right? And what has happened is, and why coaching is more important here is because we have to encourage our product teams to come out with something innovative, because the time span is very less. In fact, we have to, coming back to that earlier slide, we have to make sure that we quickly increase this percentage. Instead of 16%, if we can have maximum people coming in the earlier zone, in the early adapters and the innovator zone. So majority of the people are in the early majority and early adapters. This will help us, I would say, shorten the product. I mean, it will help us get a quicker product growth, and it will get a better revenue. If you ask me, that's the level of coaching what you will have to do to our product owners, that how we can shorten the MVP cycle, how we can quickly move from an MVP into an MMP or a minimum marketable product. How quickly can we take our product from MVP to MMP is what's very, very important. Therefore, as I said, one of the fundamental reasons for that is because the digital era, you never know. You launch a product, your competitor launches a better product. And then what happens is that you are out of the business. You're completely out of the business in that scenario, right? So that's the disruption. That's the kind of disruption we are facing in today's digital world. That's fundamentally the disruption what we are facing in the digital era. Okay. So with that, I think on that note, I would just like to take a pause here and open up for any questions if anyone has. I mean, I'll just take a quick pause here. And are there any questions anyone has on this area which I've tried to showcase here quickly? Any questions here? So the crux here is that if as a coach, if I can influence my product ownership team or my product owners to shorten the product life cycle, okay, shorten the product life cycle. If I can compress the product life cycle and if I can roll out a product as early as possible into my marketplace, capture the marketplace, get the sales, and move out. So there also has to be an exit strategy. There needs to be an exit strategy that when is the right time to exit your product from the market. This is where companies like Kodak and Nokia failed in that, because they could not realize that the market is no longer accepting them. Although at one point in time, both these products were king in their respective products, uh, eventually the market did not accept their product because better products were coming up at a faster pace. So the important lesson here is that how quickly we should also exit out of the marketplace, how quickly we should move out of the marketplace and come out with a better product or a better version of the product. So that comes in as a part of our exit strategy. What will be my product exit strategy? What point should I move out and what point should I enter? That's nothing but an exit strategy also which I need to. And this is where again as coach, I would be in a better position to explain this or to talk about it in my coaching sessions with my product ownership team. So this is what I had intended to cover as a part of the discussion. Let me see if there are any questions here. Any questions anyone has?
Yeah, Euribeth, I think, so it's Carolina, I think, sorry, Carolina, you had any question?
We listen you with some kind of interruptions. Very interesting.
Okay.
Actually, very interesting because in this digital era, it's very complicated to put into market any new product or your current product or your current products in your catalog, but evolving, no, it with another kind of service with another kind of product evolution. No, it's very complicated because yes, in America, very good examples, but they are very biggest. They are one of the in these times, no, were the one of the biggest.
Correct.
But now many companies just is a very small team, very small group of person that they are creating a new product, creating a new service in the digital era, with invoicing millions, but millions of units, no, economical units, euros, dollars, whatever, with a very small part of the team, and they don't have any physical location. They don't have any physical offices. Neither they have several offices around the globe. They are only in remote workers, something like this. That's wonderful. And it's complicated as well. You know, we are in the disruption era because if we see the banking sector, there is a disruption with all the digital coins, not only Bitcoins, the digital coins. They have a huge problem, huh? Huge, the whole banking sector. Just for example,
Correct.
So for us, it's complicated, but it's very interesting. Very interesting. No more questions.
Thanks a lot.
Please go ahead.
Yeah,
Please
any
continue.
other questions? Yeah, okay. No, I'm almost done with my presentation. I just wanted to check if there are any questions anyone has. I know people, I'm not there, but
I'll be more than happy to answer any questions which you have, and will be answer your queries. Lot of interesting observations from you also during the course of this talk, and lot of interesting examples from your side also.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Just before to continue, okay, before another question, we want to invite to the global community to be part of us, to keep learning, to keep sharing right here, no, community.pmofficer.org, where we are sharing many contents in English and Spanish as well, like executive reports about PMO, webinar series, interviews, many other materials in obviously training workshops about PMO certifications in both Spanish and English, and many others materials. So please join us. You are most welcome to be part of this. By the other hand, Ashutosh, right now we don't have more questions, but where can find you in the near future by social media? Where can we find you? LinkedIn, YouTube, I don't know. Where? Can you share your profile? Okay,
LinkedIn,
exactly.
yeah, LinkedIn would be a better option to connect, and I can answer questions there also.
Okay. LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter.
Right, right.
YouTube as well. Okay. What do you have in your YouTube channel? What do you have?
So we also, so I also have a community, and we have a lot of speakers who come in and talk in that community. So there are a lot of interesting videos on the YouTube channel.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. Well, um, we for all people is following us right now. Remember, this video is going to be recorded and shared in our YouTube channel and the rest of our social media platforms for sharing right now and in the near future, because we are going to keep sharing all contents and this very interesting webinar. It's wonderful. I really like it when you are talking about the example of iPhone. I never ever in the past have mentioned it, that you have mentioned it in iPhone, the marketing, no product viable. I don't remember exactly, but this is very interesting. Huh? You let me think. You make me think from another things because it's interesting. For me, it's a new one. Huh? I am absolutely convinced
Okay, great.
that for many participants and many members of our global community, this is a new concept. I'm absolutely convinced. And for many people that currently is working for developing or in agile products or innovation PMO, no, or transformation or digital transformation PMO or projects and products, all these kind of several initiatives in his organization or in his own roles. I think it's very important to count on that, to keep growing, to keep learning, and put it in practice. Because if you don't put in practice, it's very difficult to be better. This is our point.
True.
Ashutosh Badawad Dekar. I hope I said correctly. Sorry, it's a little difficult for me. Thank you very much.
You have pronounced it correctly.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, from India. Thank you very much for coming to share in our webinar series, The Magic of PMO. Thank you for your very interesting webinar today. I think we learned a lot of. So I want to say a very huge hug from Barcelona, Spain, and thank you very much for joining us. We hoping to see you in the near future with another initiatives from PMOfficers. You have the open doors. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you, Achutus. Thank you.